Well, we move to Brennan MP, and he's going to deliver a message to conference. Thank you.
Hello, thanks for asking me to speak to MU conference. I'm a very proud member of the Musicians Union, as well as being the Member of Parliament for Cardiff West and a member of the Digital Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee. And during the course of the last year, with some great support from Horace as our General Secretary and from Naomi as the Deputy General Secretary, I've been able to raise a lot of issues that are important to musicians on the Select Committee and in Parliament, including things like the money that was being paid to freelancers, totally insufficient from the government, not covering enough of our members and not covering enough people working as freelancers in the creative industries, not understanding the way that musicians work these days, often supplementing some income from teaching with income from live work and income from recording. I've also been working on issues like making sure that there's support for music venues, so there's somewhere for people to play when the COVID pandemic is finally over, and also supporting things like the reopening of music festivals, trying to get the government to support underwriting insurance so that festivals could go ahead this summer, and supporting the Musicians Union's calls to make sure that there's a proper system for touring in Europe post-Brexit. And the government have totally failed to fix this problem, confusing it as an immigration issue rather than an issue of trade and of the livelihoods of our members and many people who work in support of musicians touring around Europe. So it's been a really, really difficult year for musicians. So many people have had their livelihood taken away by the lack of live music. And so another issue that's really come to the fore has been the inadequate rewards that come to musicians from their recorded music in this age of streaming. And with the support of the union, I managed to get the Select Committee to do a groundbreaking comprehensive report into the economics of music streaming, showing pretty conclusively, I believe, in the evidence that the system simply isn't working for creators, for musicians, for songwriters. Too much of the revenue is going to the record labels, going to the streaming platforms, going to everybody except the creators themselves. And so working with the MU, I'm developing a bill in Parliament, a private member's ballot bill, which will be debated on December the 3rd, and which will change the law to create for musicians an unwaivable right to some remuneration every time a recording that they played on is streamed on one of the streaming platforms. That's entirely appropriate in an age where the streaming platform's stated policy is to try to replace radio as the main way that people listen to recorded music. And of course, if that happens, it means that our members, musicians, will lose out because they'll no longer get the equitable remuneration they're entitled to when their music is played on the radio. And so it's entirely appropriate that we should try to change the law in order to make sure that some of that money, some of those billions of pounds and record profits that are being raked in by record labels and huge sums of money that are being raked in by streaming platforms are trickling down into the pockets of the creators themselves, the musicians who actually make the music. It would be a great achievement if we could get this bill into law. To do that, we have to get the support of members of Parliament from all political parties, and we have to try to persuade the government that they should actually support this change in the law, because it is a change that's fair to those people who actually do the work and create the music that everybody enjoys when they turn on their streaming services. Streaming's a fantastic thing. It means you have the whole world's music in your pocket, but the people who created that music should be fairly rewarded. And I'm going to fight hard in Parliament to try to get this important change in the law with the support of the union, who've done an incredible job in getting this agenda item right at the top of that agenda in politics and in Parliament. So thank you very much. Enjoy conference and make sure that you support me and the union and what we're trying to do to get more money into the pockets of musicians, by contacting your MP, by coming along to events, by speaking, by tweeting, by using social media to make sure that people understand this is not just about the few, this is about the many musicians who play on records, the many musicians who tour and play live, the people who actually give the pleasure to millions of people across the world in the music that they create, our members. So enjoy the conference and thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that message from Kevin. Thank you for also asking us to enjoy conference. We have enjoyed conference. We've just finished it, but it's well, not quite, but thank you very much. And it's nice to hear support from MPs, and particularly I mentioned support from MPs of all parties as well. And that's the sort of thing we have to now get to follow up on this streaming progress that we've made.